Anita and Natasha were walking home from school, their bags slung over their shoulders. The sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the busy streets. People rushed by, some heading home, others setting up stalls for the evening. As they walked, Anita suddenly stopped. She had noticed a young beggar leaning against a wall. His clothes were worn out, his face pale and tired, but there was something about him that stood out. He looked nothing like the usual beggars. He was young, and surprisingly handsome. "I want to help him," Anita said, reaching into her bag. Natasha frowned. "Help who, Anita? Do you know how many beggars are on the street? If you keep handing out money, you'll be one of them soon." "But he looks really hungry," Anita whispered. "And do we have money to throw away?" Natasha snapped. "Don't forget, our rent isn't even complete." Anita hesitated. Natasha had a point. The little money she had was meant to cover part of the rent. But something deep in her heart wouldn't let her walk away. Ignoring Natasha's protests, Anita knelt down and placed the money into the young man's hand. "Here, get something to eat," she said gently. The beggar looked up in disbelief. "Thank you," he murmured, his voice frail. He stared at the money as though it was a miracle. Natasha shook her head. "You're too soft. One day, someone will take advantage of that." Anita just smiled. "Let's go." As they continued walking, Natasha sighed dramatically. "Now we can't pay rent, all because you want to play Mother Teresa. What if he's just faking?" "If he's pretending, that's between him and God," Anita replied. "But if he's really hungry, at least I did something right today." Natasha rolled her eyes. "You're too kind, Anita. That's why people will always take advantage of you." Anita said nothing. She knew Natasha didn't think like her. Natasha often pretended to come from a wealthy family, claiming her parents lived abroad. In truth, her family lived in a village just like Anita's. When they reached their modest apartment, both girls were exhausted. As soon as they got inside, Natasha threw her bag down and turned to Anita with a stern look. "Give me your share of the rent," she demanded. Anita lowered her eyes. "I don't have it yet. My parents will send money next month. I promise I'll pay you back." Natasha's face twisted in frustration. "You've got to be kidding. Every month it's the same story. I'm always the one bailing you out, and now you gave your money to some random beggar." "He looked hungry," Anita said quietly. "And what if he's lying?" Natasha snapped. "Just sitting there, waiting for kind-hearted fools to toss him money." Anita took a deep breath. "It doesn't matter. If he was truly in need, I did the right thing." Natasha groaned. "I don't care. He should find a job instead of begging. Everyone has problems. We don't all sit on the street." "Not everyone is as lucky as us," Anita whispered. Natasha laughed bitterly. "Lucky? You call this lucky? We're barely surviving." Anita stayed silent, letting Natasha vent. "This is the last time I'm helping you," Natasha warned. "Next month, don't come running to me. I won't save you." Anita felt a sting in her chest. She knew Natasha could be harsh, but today felt especially cruel. "I understand," she said softly. "Good," Natasha snapped, storming into the bathroom with her towel. Alone in the tiny room, Anita sank onto the small bed. She knew she had made things harder for herself, but she didn't regret helping the beggar. The next morning, Anita woke early. Though still upset about the argument, she tried not to dwell on it. After getting ready, she packed a small bag of food, leftover rice and beans, and headed out. When she reached the corner where she had seen the beggar, her heart lifted. He was still there. The moment he saw her, He sat up, surprised. "You came back," he said. Anita smiled and handed him the food. "Yes. I brought you something." His hands trembled slightly as he took the bag. "Thank you," he whispered. "You have no idea what this means." She sat nearby on a rock, watching as he ate slowly, savoring each bite. It was clear he hadn't eaten properly in days. After a while, he looked at her and smiled. "My name is Matthew. I'm an orphan." Anita felt a pang in her chest. "I'm sorry. That must be hard." He nodded. "I lost my parents young. I grew up in an orphanage. When I turned 18, I had to leave. Since then, life's been tough. I tried getting work, but no one wants someone like me. So, here I am." Anita's eyes softened. "That's so sad. I wish I could do more." "You already have," he said. "You gave me money yesterday. Food today. You're the first person who's treated me with kindness in a long time." Anita looked down, shy. "I don't have much. But I can bring food whenever I can." "That's more than enough," he said, eyes filled with gratitude. She stood up. "I have to get to school." "Be careful," Matthew replied. As Anita walked away, something stirred in her heart. She didn't understand it yet, but she felt connected to him. A week later, Natasha burst into the apartment, clearly annoyed. She threw her bag on the table and stormed into the kitchen. Opening the cupboard, she saw their food nearly gone. "What's going on?" she yelled. "Why is everything finishing so fast?" "We ate it," Anita answered calmly. "We?" Natasha scoffed. "I barely eat here. So how is everything almost gone?" Anita sighed. She knew where this was heading. Natasha stepped closer, her tone sharp. "I hope you're not selling our food and feeding your beggar friend." Anita's face hardened. She stood up. "Don't disrespect him. He's my friend." Natasha burst out laughing. "Friend? A beggar is now your friend? You're losing your mind." Anita remained calm. "Matthew is a human being. If life had been fair, he could be in school like us. Stop judging." "Oh please," Natasha sneered. "He's just lazy. He should go work." Anita sat back down, trying to stay composed. But Natasha wasn't finished. She sat beside Anita and spoke in a low voice. "Since you have no money, there's something we can do." Anita eyed her warily. "What?" Natasha smirked. "Let's go see Chief. He likes girls like us. He'll give us anything we want, money, food, clothes, as long as we do what he wants." Anita stared at her in disbelief. "Never. I'll never be part of that." Natasha scoffed. "Dirty business? You're suffering. Anita. You can't pay rent. You're feeding beggars and starving at home. Wise up." "I come from a Christian home," Anita said firmly. "I'm saving myself for my husband." Natasha laughed. "Mother Mary. Wake up. Girls out there are making money and living fine. And here you are, stuck in this mess." Anita didn't reply. Natasha smirked. "Suit yourself. I'll enjoy life for both of us." She picked up her phone, clearly texting Chief. Anita's heart sank. She knew Natasha had changed, but not this much. She silently prayed, asking God for strength. The next day, under the bright morning sun, Anita made her way back to the street where Matthew always Saturday. She carried another small bag of food, whatever she could manage to spare. When she arrived, she found Matthew deep in thought. Seeing her, his face lit up. "You came back," he said, sitting upright. Of course, Anita smiled. I said I would. He took the food gently, as if it were a treasure. Thank you, Anita. You don't know how much this means to me. She sat beside him as he ate. After a few minutes, she asked, There's something I've been wondering. Matthew looked up. What is it? You said you never went to school, but you speak so well. How? He smiled. I listen. I pick up words from people around me. I learn fast. Anita was impressed. That's incredible. When life pushes you to survive, you learn quickly, he replied. Anita studied him. He didn't seem like other beggars. He carried himself differently, his eyes sharp, his voice calm. Where do you stay? She asked. In an unfinished building, he answered simply. She gasped. That's dangerous. Matthew chuckled. Don't worry about me. I'm a fighter, a warrior. Anita laughed. A warrior? What battles have you fought? He grinned. Plenty. I fight hunger every day. I fight the cold at night. I fight off thieves. And I win. Anita smiled, shaking her head. You're something else. Matthew tapped her shoulder lightly. You're helping me more than you know, Anita. Every time you bring me food, you give me hope. That's more than enough. Anita felt a warmth in her heart. She didn't understand it, but being around Matthew stirred something inside her, something she couldn't explain. He was poor, homeless, and struggling, yet he carried a strength that even the wealthy lacked. At school, Natasha lounged under a shady tree with two other girls, enjoying their company. She loved moments like these, moments where she could feel more important than she truly was. You girls don't understand, Natasha said with a smug smile. I chose to be here. My parents wanted me to study abroad at a top private university, but I refused. One of the girls gasped. You refused? Why would you do that? Natasha sighed dramatically, as if it were nothing. I just wanted to experience life on my own terms. I wanted to be independent. My parents weren't happy, but they eventually let me be. The second girl shook her head in awe. Wow, that must have been a hard choice. Natasha shrugged casually. Of course. But don't think they abandoned me. They still send me money every week. I never lack anything. The girls looked at one another with envy. You're so lucky. If I had rich parents, I'd never refuse a chance to study abroad. Natasha laughed lightly. I like it here. And honestly, money has never been a problem for me. I wish I had your life, one of them sighed. Natasha beamed. She loved hearing things like that. That's why I'm taking you girls out this weekend. My treat. Are you serious? One asked in disbelief. Of course. What's the point of having money if I can't enjoy it? We'll go to the best restaurant, order anything we want, and just have fun. The girls were overjoyed. Natasha, you're the best. She laughed again, soaking in their admiration. 2 days later, Anita couldn't keep her feelings to herself anymore. She had been thinking about Matthew constantly, especially worrying about where he was sleeping. That uncompleted building was no place for anyone. It was dangerous, exposed, and unsafe, especially at night. She told Natasha how she felt and explained that she wanted Matthew to stay with them temporarily, at least until she found a better solution. But Natasha immediately rejected the idea. That's none of your business, she snapped. You're acting like you're falling for that poor beggar. Have you forgotten why your parents sent you to school? You're supposed to be building a future, not wasting your time thinking about some homeless guy. He's not worth it. Anita frowned. He's a human being, Natasha. He deserves to live in a safe place. But Natasha wasn't moved. It's bad enough you've been spending time with him. Now you want to bring him here? Look, if Chief and his friends offer us money and opportunities, you always say no. But you want to risk everything for a broke, ugly guy on the street? You're making a mistake. Anita shook her head firmly. That's nonsense. I'll never follow your reckless lifestyle. And even if I did have feelings for Matthew, it's none of your concern. I don't owe you anything. You can live however you want, but don't try to control me. Natasha scoffed. Fine. But if you bring him here, I'm not staying. I won't live in the same house with a beggar. Anita had already made up her mind. She was going to help Matthew, no matter what Natasha said. A few days later, Matthew was rushed to the hospital. He had been attacked by men who tried to rob him of the little money he'd begged for that day. They beat him, kicked him, and left him unconscious. Thankfully, a kind stranger found him and took him to the hospital. When Anita heard what happened, she rushed over. Her heart dropped when she saw him lying weak on the hospital bed, bruises on his face and his arm in a bandage. She quickly turned to the doctor. Will he be okay? The doctor nodded gently. Don't worry, he's stable. Just minor injuries. But young lady, he really needs a better place to stay. If he continues living on the streets or in abandoned buildings, this will keep happening. Anita looked at Matthew. You heard that. You can't stay out there anymore. It's not safe. Matthew sighed. I know, Anita. But where would I go? I have nowhere. She took a deep breath. Come home with me. Matthew immediately shook his head. No, I can't. Natasha won't accept it. And your room is already small. I don't want to cause trouble for you. But Anita was firm. Forget Natasha. This is my decision. We'll manage the space. I won't let you go back out there. You almost lost your life. Matthew. What if it's worse next time? He looked at her, unsure. You've already done so much for me. You don't have to do this. I want to, she said softly. And I've made up my mind. You're coming with me. After a pause, he nodded. Okay, if you insist. Anita smiled, relieved. Good. Let's go home. Later that evening, they arrived at the small apartment. The streets were quiet, and as they stepped inside, Anita felt a sense of comfort knowing Matthew had a roof over his head. Just as they were settling in, Anita's phone rang. It was Natasha. She hesitated, then picked up. Hello. Anita. Natasha's voice was cheerful. Just wanted to let you know I've traveled. I'll be back in 5 days. Traveled? To where? Natasha laughed. You know me, places to be, people to see. Don't miss me too much. Anita rolled her eyes. All right. Safe journey. Natasha didn't ask about anything else. She just ended the call. Anita put down the phone and turned to Matthew. That was Natasha. She won't be back for 5 days. Matthew nodded. That's good. At least I won't have to deal with her insults. Anita smiled. Exactly. For now, you can have some peace. Matthew let out a sigh of relief. Thank you, Anita. I don't know how to repay you. You don't need to repay me, she said gently. Just focus on getting better. For the first time in a long while, Matthew felt safe. The next day, Anita came home looking troubled. She dropped her bag and sat down quietly. Matthew noticed immediately. Anita, what's wrong? She sighed. It's my school fees. I haven't paid them. I thought your parents always sent the money. They do, but this time, they can't. They suffered a big loss on the farm. Right now, they barely have enough to feed themselves. Matthew's face softened. I'm so sorry. It's not their fault. They've tried their best. I just don't know what to do now. Matthew lifted an imaginary staff in the air. I, Pastor Matthew, declare that you will get a helper very soon. Anita burst out laughing. Pastor Matthew? Really? He grinned. Yes, that's me. The great man of faith. I wish it were that easy. God works in mysterious ways. Just wait and see. I really hope so, she said quietly. The next day, Anita went to school, still burdened by her unpaid fees. She walked to the finance office, hoping to ask for more time. But when she arrived, the staff surprised her. Anita, one of them said with a smile, you don't have to worry anymore. Your fees have been paid. She blinked in confusion. What do you mean? They checked the system. It's all there. Paid in full. Anita's eyes widened in disbelief. Paid? By who? She asked. The staff shook their heads. We don't know. But everything has been taken care of. You don't owe anything. Anita stood frozen, her mind spinning. It felt like a dream. Someone had paid her school fees, and she had no clue who it was. Without wasting time, she dashed home, heart pounding with excitement. As soon as she stepped into the house, she shouted, Matthew! My school fees have been paid. Matthew smiled calmly. I told you, Anita. God works in mysterious ways. Still overwhelmed, Anita sat down. I don't understand. I don't even know who did it. Matthew folded his arms. Do you still doubt Pastor Matthew? Anita laughed lightly. Okay, you win. Indeed, you are a true man of God. I told you, when Pastor Matthew speaks, things happen, he said, grinning. They both laughed, but deep inside, Anita couldn't stop wondering who had helped her. 5 days later, Natasha returned home in the early afternoon while Anita was at school. She unlocked the door, expecting everything to be just as she left it. But as she stepped inside, she froze. Matthew was sitting quietly in the corner, reading an old book. Natasha stared at him, her face quickly twisting into anger. What are you doing here? She demanded. Matthew stood up. Good afternoon, Natasha. Don't good afternoon me, she snapped. What are you doing in my house? Matthew took a breath. Anita brought me here. I was attacked a few days ago. The doctor said I needed a safer place. Anita offered me shelter here temporarily. Disgust washed over Natasha's face as she looked around the room, then dramatically covered her nose. So Anita really brought a beggar into my house, she scoffed. This is unbelievable. I didn't ask for this, Matthew said calmly. Anita was only trying to help. Help? Is she planning to turn this place into a charity home? Natasha snapped. First, she wastes food on you, and now this. She pulled out her phone and dialed Anita's number. As soon as Anita answered, Natasha barked, Come home right now. Anita, still in class, was startled. Natasha, what's going on? What's going on? Natasha yelled. I just got home and found that disgusting beggar sitting here like he belongs. You have 5 minutes to get here and take him out, or I'll do it myself. Anita's heart thudded. She had feared this moment. I'm on my way, she said quickly and ended the call. She grabbed her bag and rushed out of the lecture hall, ignoring the curious stares. As she made her way home, her mind raced with how to calm the storm waiting for her. When Anita burst through the door, Natasha turned on her immediately. "What is wrong with you? How could you bring him here without telling me?" Anita took a deep breath. "Please, just listen." "Listen to what?" "That you've turned our home into a shelter." Natasha shouted. "Do you know how embarrassing this is?" Anita moved closer. "I understand why you're angry. But please think about it. Matthew has nowhere to go. He was already attacked once. What if something worse happens next time? I know you have a tough heart, but deep down, I also know you wouldn't forgive yourself if anything happened to him." Natasha looked away, avoiding Anita's eyes. Her silence said more than words. "He's not asking to stay forever," Anita continued. "Just a few days." After a moment, Natasha sighed. "It's only because of God," she muttered. Anita's heart leapt with relief. "Thank you, Natasha." "Really?" "Don't thank me yet," Natasha warned. "He has 1 week. After that, I want him out. If not, I'll throw him out myself." "I understand. 1 week is enough," Anita replied quickly. Natasha scoffed and walked away with her phone, ignoring both of them. Anita turned to Matthew. "You see? Everything's fine now." Matthew gave a faint smile. "Thank you, Anita. I owe you everything." She smiled back, but in her heart, she knew the next few days would be anything but easy. 2 days later, Anita received urgent news. Her father was sick, and she needed to come to the village immediately. With no choice, she packed a small bag and sat Matthew down to explain. "I'll be back in 2 or 3 days," she assured him. Matthew looked worried. "How will I cope with Natasha while you're gone?" Anita sighed. "I know it won't be easy, but stay out of her way. I'll be back soon." Matthew wished he could go with her, but she refused. "My father needs me right now," she said. He finally agreed and walked with her to the bus park, carrying her bag. Before she boarded, he looked at her. "Be careful, Anita." "I will," she replied softly. "Take care of yourself." As the bus drove off, Matthew watched with unease before returning home. To his surprise, Natasha was waiting by the door with an unusual smile. She leaned against the wall, watching him closely. "You know, Matthew," she said sweetly, "I never noticed how handsome you are." Matthew frowned. "What are you talking about?" "Anita has done well with you. You no longer look like the beggar she picked up." "But I can do much better," she said, stepping closer. Matthew's face hardened. "What are you trying to say?" "I'm richer, classier. Unlike Anita, I have standards. I can change your life," she said with a smile. Matthew stared at her, stunned. "Never, Natasha. You're the same woman who sleeps around for money. You think I don't know? And you stand here talking about wealth." Her smile faded. "I know your parents are also poor. Stop pretending to be what you're not," he added. Furious, Natasha hissed. "How dare you? I was trying to help you. I was even willing to manage you." Matthew chuckled. "Yet I'm too dirty and ugly for you." Natasha's face burned with rage. "I know Anita told you things about me. I'll deal with her when she comes back." "She told me nothing," Matthew replied. "But the truth always finds its way out. Change your ways before it's too late." "That's it. Get out," she screamed. Matthew picked up his small bag. "I was leaving anyway." Without another word, he walked out, leaving Natasha fuming. That night, Anita sat outside her family home, enjoying the cool breeze when her phone rang. Seeing Matthew's name, she answered quickly. How are you? Is everything okay? She asked. Matthew sighed. Anita, I need to tell you something. Her heart skipped. What happened? Matthew explained everything. Natasha's sudden sweetness, her flirty words, how she tried to win him over, and the insult she hurled when he refused. By the time he finished, Anita was boiling with anger. That shameless girl. After everything she said about you, she had the audacity to try that. She thought I'd be tempted by her so-called class. But when I refused, she insulted both of us, he said. Anita shook her head. No shame at all. Then Matthew asked, by the way, how is your father? Anita sighed. That's what I wanted to tell you. He was never sick. What? Matthew asked, surprised. They just missed me and wanted me to visit. So they made up the story, she said. Matthew chuckled. So you traveled all the way for that? Not for nothing, Anita smiled. I got to see them. They were happy. But I'm coming back tomorrow. I can't leave Natasha alone to destroy everything. I was going to talk to you about that, Matthew said. She'll throw you out the moment you return. Let her try, Anita replied confidently. I'm not afraid of her. I know you're strong, Matthew said. But listen, I found a job. Anita's eyes lit up. What? Are you serious? Yes. I'm working as a security man for an elderly couple. They're kind and even gave me a small room to stay in. That's amazing. Anita exclaimed. There's more, Matthew added. I told them about you, how you helped me. And guess what? They agreed to let you stay too. Anita gasped. Really? Yes. They said anyone with a heart like yours deserves a safe place. So when you return, you won't have to worry about Natasha. Tears welled in Anita's eyes. Matthew, this is the best news I've heard in a long time, Matthew. This is the best news I've heard in a long time. I can't wait to come back so we can celebrate. Matthew laughed. You better come quickly before Natasha burns all your clothes in anger. Anita laughed too, feeling happier than she had in days. She had left the city with nothing but worries, but now she was returning with a fresh start. Anita arrived home early in the afternoon, her heart pounding in her chest. She had made up her mind. She was leaving Natasha's house for good. There was no need for arguments or explanations. Natasha had already revealed her true colors, and Anita had no intention of begging for a place where she was no longer welcome. The apartment was quiet when she entered. Natasha was not around, which was a relief. Without wasting time, Anita quickly gathered her few belongings, folding her clothes neatly into her small travel bag. She took a deep breath, looked around the room one last time, then quietly walked out, shutting the door behind her. She knew Natasha would be furious once she found out, but Anita no longer cared. Her life was moving forward, and Natasha was now just part of her past. When Anita arrived at Matthew's new workplace, she stopped in shock. The house before her was not just big. It was a mansion. The tall gates, the beautifully designed compound, and the luxurious cars parked outside all spoke of wealth and power. She turned to Matthew in disbelief. Matthew, this is where you work? She asked, still trying to process everything. Matthew smiled. Yes, Anita. Anita shook her head. How did this happen? Just a few days ago, you were struggling to find a place to sleep, and now you're working in a place like this. Matthew chuckled. Let me tell you what happened. He took a deep breath and explained. The day Natasha chased me out, I was wandering the streets with nowhere to go. I was tired, hungry, and frustrated. I sat in a corner, crying, not knowing what to do. Then a car stopped in front of me. A man stepped out and asked why I was crying. Anita listened attentively as Matthew continued. I told him everything, how I lost my parents, how I struggled on the streets, how you took me in, and how Natasha eventually threw me out. He listened patiently and then asked me a simple question. Do you want to work? I said yes immediately, and just like that, he offered me a job as a security guard. He brought me here, introduced me to his wife, and told me I could stay in the boys' quarters. Anita's eyes widened. Wow, they are so kind. God bless them. Matthew nodded. Yes, they are truly good people. Anita smiled. I need to thank them personally. Matthew nodded. Go ahead. The main house is just inside. They are Chief Emmanuel and his wife. They are very nice. Anita straightened her dress and made her way to the main house. When she entered the large, elegant home, she was warmly welcomed by Chief Emmanuel and his wife, Madame Stella. She smiled respectfully. Good afternoon, sir. I just came to thank you for all you've done for Matthew. He has been through a lot, and I truly appreciate your kindness. Chief Emmanuel and Madame Stella exchanged surprised glances at Anita's humility and gratitude. Madame Stella smiled warmly. You are such a well-mannered young lady. No wonder Matthew speaks so highly of you. Chief Emmanuel nodded. Yes, he told us everything. How you helped him when he had nothing, how you risked your own comfort to make sure he was safe. It's rare to find someone with such a pure heart these days. Anita felt shy. I only did what was right, sir. Madame Stella looked at her husband and smiled before turning back to Anita. Since Matthew said you two are just best friends, we have something to ask you. Anita looked at them curiously. What is it, Chief Emmanuel cleared his throat. We have a son who lives abroad. We've been searching for a good, kind, and respectful woman for him. Someone who will love him for who he is, not for his money. From everything we've seen and heard about you, we think you might be the perfect match. Anita's heart nearly stopped. Excuse me. Madame Stella smiled gently. Yes, dear. We want you to consider marrying our son. He is hard-working and responsible, but so focused on his career that he hasn't settled down. We believe you would make the perfect wife for him. Anita was speechless, unable to believe what she was hearing. With all due respect, Anita finally said, I'm not interested. I already have someone. Chief Emmanuel and Madame Stella exchanged glances. Madame Stella said kindly, It's okay, dear. We understand. We won't force you, but we'll give you time to think about it. Anita nodded. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the offer, but I already know where my heart belongs. They smiled and wished her well as she left. When Anita returned, she wasn't happy with Matthew. She looked at him seriously. Matthew, why did you tell Chief Emmanuel and his wife that we are just friends and nothing more? Matthew scratched his head, looking guilty. I'm sorry, Anita. I thought if I said anything else, they wouldn't let you stay here. Anita sighed. Well, because of that, they now want me to marry their son. Matthew's eyes widened in shock. What? Yes. Anita continued, they said I am kind and respectful, and they need a good woman like me for their son who lives abroad. Matthew swallowed hard. And what did you say? Anita looked at him with a playful smile. I told them I'm not interested because I already have someone. Matthew's heart pounded. Who, Anita? She folded her arms. You tell me. Matthew took a deep breath and stepped closer. Anita, listen to me. I need to tell you something. She raised an eyebrow. What is it? He looked into her eyes. I love you. I have loved you from the first day you gave me food on the street. You are the mother of my unborn children. I don't want anyone else." Anita's serious face slowly softened into a small smile. "If that's how you feel, then you should go and tell Chief Emmanuel and his wife." Matthew shook his head. "It's not necessary. The only person I need to tell is you." Anita smiled wider. "So what now?" Matthew grinned. "Now, we build our future together. Just you and me." Anita nodded. "That sounds perfect." Weeks later, Natasha started feeling sick. At first, she thought it was stress or a minor illness, but as days passed, her condition worsened. She felt weak all the time, had frequent fevers, and lost her appetite. One afternoon, she went to the hospital. After some tests, the doctor gave her shocking news. "Miss Natasha," the doctor said, looking at her with pity, "your test results are out. I'm sorry to inform you that you are HIV positive." Natasha felt as if the ground had opened beneath her. Her body went numb. "No, no, that's not possible," she whispered. The doctor sighed. "I know this is hard, but we need to start treatment immediately. Right now, your chances are 50-50. Natasha's hands trembled as she held her head. "Doctor, what do you mean 50-50? The doctor looked at her with concern. "Your immune system is already weak. You should have come earlier. With proper treatment, you can still live a long life, but we need to act fast." Tears rolled down Natasha's face as she thought about all the men she had been with, ignoring Anita's warnings. Regret hit her like a heavy rock. She left the hospital in shock, her whole world crashing down. Months later, Natasha's condition worsened. Her once glowing skin became pale, her body weak, and she lost so much weight that people barely recognized her. She could no longer hide the truth. One evening, she had a severe attack and was rushed to the hospital. She was in unbearable pain, crying and struggling to breathe. The doctors did all they could, but her condition was critical. In her weakest moment, Natasha turned to her mother, her voice barely above a whisper. "Mama, please call Anita," she pleaded. Her breathing was heavy. Her mother's eyes filled with tears. "Anita, Natasha needs you." Anita was at Matthew's quarters helping him clean when her phone rang. She wiped her hands and answered. "Hello." The voice on the other end was shaky. "Anita, it's me, Natasha's mother." Anita immediately felt uneasy. "Mama Natasha, what's wrong?" Her voice cracked. "It's Natasha. She's in the hospital. Please come quickly." Anita's heart pounded. "Hospital? What happened? Has she been sick for months and didn't tell you?" Her mother's voice broke. "No, I had no idea. Please come. She keeps asking for you." Without wasting a second, Anita grabbed her bag and ran outside. Matthew tried to stop her, asking what was wrong, but she was too shaken to explain. She took the first taxi to the hospital, her hands trembling the whole way. When Anita arrived, she rushed into the ward. The moment she stepped inside, her heart broke. Lying on the hospital bed was Natasha, but she looked nothing like the woman Anita once knew. Her skin was pale and weak, her weight so lost that her bones were visible. Tubes were connected to her hands, and her breathing was slow and painful. Anita covered her mouth as tears fell. She moved closer and sat beside the bed, holding Natasha's frail hand. "Natasha," her voice cracked. "Oh my God, look at you." Natasha slowly opened her eyes and saw Anita. A single tear slipped from the corner of her eye. "Anita, you came," she whispered. Anita wiped her tears. "Of course, I came. Natasha, what happened to you?" Natasha sobbed weakly. I should have listened to you. I should have listened. Anita shook her head, her chest tight with emotions. I warned you, Natasha. I told you to stop sleeping with all those men, but you didn't listen. Now look where you are. Natasha cried harder. I was foolish, Anita. I thought money and pleasure were everything. But now I have nothing left. Anita squeezed her hand. I wish I could do something to help you. Natasha looked into Anita's eyes, filled with regret. Pray for me, Anita. Pray that God forgives me. Anita nodded, tears streaming down her face. I will, Natasha. I will. Natasha's mother stood in the corner, weeping silently. She looked at Anita with deep pain. She always spoke about you, Anita, even when she was sick. She regrets everything. Anita bowed her head, still holding Natasha's weak hand. She closed her eyes and began to pray, her voice filled with emotion. Natasha closed her eyes too, tears rolling down her cheeks. She had made many mistakes, but now all she wanted was one last chance. After the emotional hospital visit, Anita arrived home with a heavy heart. She wanted to talk to Matthew about everything she had seen and felt, but when she entered the boys' quarters, Matthew was nowhere to be found. She looked around, confused. Matthew, she called out. No answer. Quickly, she took out her phone and dialed his number. Anita, Matthew's voice came through. Where are you? I've been looking for you. I had to leave for a while. Something important came up, he said, his tone serious. Anita frowned. What happened? I'll explain when I see you. Anita sighed. All right, just be careful, okay? Always, Matthew assured her before hanging up. Anita sat down, her mind racing with questions and fears. What was going on with Matthew? Why was he hiding things from her? She hoped she would find out soon because whatever it was important.